Princess Ilyna is a hybrid warrior mage fight depending on what stage of the fight you're on, forcing you to learn how to deal with each playstyle. Thankfully, her moves are a lot less varied than some bosses, and the counters to her moves are pretty straightforward, and none of her attacks do chip damage. Keeping the pressure on her when her stamina is low is a viable strategy in this fight. Note, she can do chaos buildup with her sound attack, so having chaos resistance and chaos consumable items is recommended. In Phase 1, Princess Ilyna will stick to melee attacks, and her first combo is a slightly delayed thrust followed by a quick dodge, and another thrust, and then a third thrust attack. The rhythm of this can be deceiving at first since each attack has a different timing, but learn to bring guard these and attack afterward. She has a move where she darts in and then does a spinning singular delayed slash attack, often from behind you. She also does a variation of this that's a quick thrust instead, so you have to ascertain which she's doing quickly and dodge or block accordingly. She has another 3-hit combo where she does a delayed thrust, followed by a second thrust nearly instantly, and then a third thrust. If you're not sure, just brink guard the first attack, hold block, and then brink guard the third attack. Sometimes she'll wind up with a rapier glowing white, and then a second later she'll charge at you wicked fast. If you brink guard this attack, you'll deal considerable stamina damage and stagger her for a split second. In Phase 3, she does this back-to-back and leaves a chaos trail that explodes on a delay if you miss either brink guard, so if you miss these, you'll need to move or you'll take damage. Her big combo in this phase is an 11-hit combo that begins with a slightly delayed thrust telegraphed by her raising her rapier over her left shoulder, followed by another thrust, then a slightly delayed thrust, followed by 3 quick thrusts, then another slightly delayed thrust, followed by 3 more thrusts, and a delayed spinning thrust. Try to brink guard these if you can and then attack afterwards, but if you have enough stamina, holding block is effective as well. Phase 2 is marked by a purple lightning AoE around Ilyna that explodes and does chaos buildup on a delay, so don't be around her when you see this. This will be followed with her floating up into the air and flinging out 2 purple musical notes to the edges of the arena where the fans are sitting, one after another. These will detonate, sending out purple sound orbs 5 at a time. You'll have to dodge the initial projectiles and then the delayed explosion trails they leave. Since these tend to cross over, you'll have to be fast and make sure you aren't dodging out of the way only to dodge into another projectile or trail, but it's best to hold block while you move since you'll only take chaos buildup if you get hit this way and not damage. In Phase 4, she will start to send out more purple musical notes, resulting in more and more projectiles you must dodge in a row, making this a bit harder. Note that you cannot lock onto her during this attack, which may throw you off initially, but that your lock on will return automatically after the attack ends. She'll summon 5 musical notes around her that will fire off all at once following this attack. You can strafe around them and then attack if you're quick enough, just don't go crazy because she'll respawn nearly immediately. She will then typically fire off 3 purple arrows that will home onto you for a few seconds, also dealing chaos buildup. They have trails that detonate on a delay as well, so make sure you avoid the projectiles and where the projectiles have been to not get hit. Try to run in a wide circle and get behind her and attack, as you have a few seconds after they stop following you. She can also fire off 2 purple arrows at you that have trails as well. These don't home like the 3 arrows, and they are much faster after a delayed firing. Sometimes in this phase, she'll summon a musical note over her head and detonate an AoE around her, and then she'll flip over you, firing the note off into a corner, followed by more sound waves that shoot out. However many notes she summons over her head will indicate how many she will throw into the walls, so if it's more, then more orbs will come. More orbs usually happens in Phase 4. She also has another attack where she summons purple AoEs under you back to back that deal chaos buildup. Dodge these or sprint and then attack afterwards, as she's usually vulnerable for a few seconds. She can also cast a purple transparent wall that deals damage and interrupts you if you touch it. Try to avoid it if you can and keep fighting her around it. She usually summons this if you're late to punish one of her attacks. Sometimes she will also fire 3 musical notes at you, one right after the other. Dodge these or block them to avoid chaos buildup, but they don't deal any chip damage. As her health goes down, she'll transition back to melee attacks, which will mark the beginning of Phase 3, and you will once again have to deal with the attacks from Phase 1. However, some attacks are souped up, like the charge attack, which I mentioned earlier, which is now 2 attacks back-to-back, leaving a chaos trail if you fail to brink guard. Note the second charge is slightly delayed compared to the first, so don't brink guard too quickly. Additionally, her spinning singular slash now has a slightly delayed chaos hit, so be ready for that, and she can do a variation combo of this that's 3 or 4 slashes, each with delayed chaos hits. She spins in the opposite direction before she does this attack though, so pay attention to which direction she spins before her attack to know how many strikes she'll do. However, you can still brink guard these since they don't do chip damage. She also has a nasty grab attack in this phase that is marked by a slow twirl as she moves forward, followed by an upward swing. This does tons of damage and chaos buildup, so dodge at the last second to avoid it, since you cannot block it. She will then transition back to mage form as her health goes down, which will trigger phase 4. The phase will begin much the same as phase 2, but now she can throw up to 4 notes into the walls, meaning more purple sound waves to dodge. From here, she will alternate between phase 3 and phase 4 until she is defeated. Pay attention to the number of notes you see on certain attacks, which indicate how many sound waves will be coming your way.
Princess Ilyna.
A princess? I don't think I've killed one of those before.